I'm going to ask a series of questions of our wonderful, wonderful guests. The first guest I'd like to bring on camera right now would be Dave Koz, who actually played on my very first album many, many years ago. Was introduced to me by Betty Brasky, who said he's really, really a great musician. I said, Betty, I'm doing like an amazing album. She said, no, he's good. And then I asked Bob Parr, who was on the session with me, do you know Dave Koz? And he says, like, he's really, really good. And he's a good looking guy too. And I said, well, if he's good looking, we're in. Dave Koz, if you were not making music, what would you be making? What would you be doing with your life?
Craig, first of all, thank you for having me a part of this this wonderful panel. It's really lovely to be here. But you forgot my most important credit, that I played at your and Louise's wedding. That too. It's right up there at the top of my resume, buddy.
That too.
If I wasn't making music, though, I grew up very confused. I was a gay kid without anybody to talk to, and the saxophone came into my life at age 13 when I didn't really have many friends. I was a very awkward kid, and the sax became my best friend. Nothing that I was feeling inside could come out through words, but it could come out through the saxophone. Somehow the amazing power of music gave me a voice. So I'm very grateful to it. And I'd love to be able to say, I'd be a doctor or a plumber or something like that. But I don't even know not to be overly dramatic, but I don't know if I would be here if it weren't for music, because music really became my cushion to live life. And I'd be interested to see what some of the other panelists have to say about the role of music in their lives. We do it for others.
Dave, I'm just saying, if you don't stop, there might not be time for any of the other artists,
I'm a Jew, I talk.
It's all right. Okay, Gabriel Mann, keep Dave there, bring Gabriel Mann in. Beautiful, huh? Let's see. And there's Gabriel.
Hello. Oh, should I scoot over? Oh no, look at this.
So Gabriel, who are you, and what would you be doing if you were not doing what you are doing?
Who am I? That's complicated. Okay. I could tell. Let me answer the second question first, and the first question second. I'd probably be a doctor. I was pre-med. I went to Penn, and I was pre-med and a music major. So if the music major had gone south, I would have been a doctor. But instead, the pre-med stuff kind of went south, or I got tired of it, really is more what happened. But I did almost all of it. Anyway, I would have been a doctor. My father was a pediatric neurologist and a chazan, and my mother was a psychologist. And so we got doctors in the genes. We also have musicians in the genes. So like there's, I guess it could have gone either way. So I went for the music.
Piper, we know you're in school. If you weren't in school, we know what you'd be doing if you weren't in school. You'd be here with us, right?
Yeah.
All right, so who's the guy to your right? What's his relationship with you?
Oh, for me, he's on the left. Well, he's my dad, actually. I don't know. When like a few years ago, or I only really started to really get into like making my own music, like a few years ago when we wrote Ahavat Olam. Before that, I sort of had like this weird dream of becoming a Marine vet. I don't know. It was like this random thing that I came up with, and then I just sort of dropped it. I don't know. And then now I'm just hoping to become a musician or something. Yeah.
Beautiful. Peter Yarrow.
Where are you, Piper? Get back on. Tell me about that painting.
Oh.
I can tell you about the painting.
Okay.
She has to go to school.
She's in school. Also, she was much younger when we got that painting. She was probably like 4 years ago. It's from Caesarea. My parents live on a hill above Caesarea in a little town called Zichron Yaakov. And that painting is actually not paint. It's made out of some kind of recycled material. that's been sort of colored with various techniques, and you can. There's I can't remember the artist's name, but it's in this gallery right at the ruins at Caesarea.
It's fabulous. I was looking at it. It has so much heart. I think that one thing I think, Dave, it was very good what you were saying as an opening for me. The idea is that the creativity that we can express is a healing process, and we come from trauma, sometimes intergenerational trauma, unquestionably, and some people far more debilitating and painful than others. We who are Jews, but we all have it. But with that leading me to answering my question, what I would be doing is two things. Number one, if I were not singing, I would be finding a way to feel that I am helping. And the way I'd be organizing efforts right now, and it would be enormously meaningful to me and powerful to me. I would be, in personal terms, showing up for various people in the way that I do now, but I have, of course, conflicts in time and energies. This has to come from our humanity. And this is not hypothetical to me. It's a moment-to-moment reality. But pardon me for going on and on. You're not the only offender who happens to be a Jew and likes to talk.
Chava Morel, are you here with us too?
I am.
What if instead of telling us what you were doing, why don't you have your guitar there?
I do.
Pick up your guitar and sing the opening couple of verses, the opening verse to What If, a song that you wrote inspired by Jules of Elul, I think 3 years ago, was it?
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And Peter, you wrote something for Jules of Elul, I think 10 years ago. And Dave, you wrote it many, many years ago too. But Chava, this is your What If.
Oh, thank you, Craig. You inspired me. You called me on an airplane and told me to write this song.
Let's go to the main screen, just Chava.
What if the planet wasn't round? What if the silence had a sound? What if we took our paradigms and flipped them upside down? What if we make room for us all? What if we wouldn't let you fall? What if we wore our bodies like the splendor that they are? I could go on, Craig.
We don't have, that is it. Concise. We love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. Gabriel Mann, what is your inspiration? And I'm going to ask everybody in two ways right now. You wrote the music for Modern Family. And my guess is the inspiration for the music for Modern Family is very different than the music for Ahavat Olam. Is that true?
Yes, true.
Huh. Genius.
Yes. How did you figure that out? There's not a lot of people making music that in my own mind sounds modern, for lack of a better term, in the Jewish world. So I didn't set out to make particularly modern music. It's just sort of like the things that come out of me are the things that make sense in my own artistic context. And that is something that has been over the last however many years. Anyway, but in terms of inspiration, I think that it's partially out of need and the need of other people. Like when Tiffany, our cantor from Isaiah, says, "It would be nice if you could make me something," I say, "What? What do you need for the service? What is missing? What's missing?" And the first thing that she had said that she was missing, when Piper and I wrote this thing for her bat mitzvah, this is like 3 years ago now, or 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, she said, she gave me a couple options. And so Piper was like, "Well, how about if we do this one?" And so it was out of a need of something that was missing in the service, something where she didn't feel like there was a particular melody that she felt like anybody cared about.
Dave Koz, where's your inspiration? Or I'm gonna say it in another way for you. Who is your inspiration? Is there one person that was an inspiration in your life? Because I can tell you, for me, I would not be doing what I'm doing Jewish musically if it wasn't for Debbie Friedman. No way, no way. And I wouldn't be doing politically and activism if it wasn't for Theo Bickel. That my music is not like them, but I am inspired by them. I stand on their shoulders. So what about you? Were you inspired, or are you currently inspired by anyone?
On the saxophone, it would have to be a guy named David Sanborn, who I listened to religiously growing up in my bedroom. I wore out his records. I eventually got a chance to meet him, and I was a bumbling fool. Well, I just want to be like you. He gave me the best advice I've ever received from a music professional. He said, "Let me be me, and you just find you." And I'm proud to say that we had a tour together many years later, and he played on my new album. So getting a chance to just be, I would never say equals, but the song is called Side by Side. Just being able to stand next to the guy that I grew up idolizing and listening to was a pretty good life moment. But I'm just going to say here real quickly that people like Peter, and not just because you're on the call, Peter, but the thing that is truly inspiring for me as an artist is consistency of excellence, which you personify. You've had a message that you started with, and you've remained committed to that message for your entire life. And now you're 82 and you still haven't lost any steam. To me, that's the sign of excellence, and making the gifts that were given to you work for your whole entire life, which I hope to do in my life. So let me just say thank you for your intensely beautiful contribution to the world, Peter. And thank you for the inspiration.
Yeah, you know, that is so important to say. And Peter, briefly, please, two things. One, I don't know how to say this, but can you tell him, because you and I have talked about this, tell Dave what that means for you, an 82-year-old man, to hear it from a younger man.
Well, most of all, it makes me feel, there are many words to express it, but eternal is the best word, because I feel that I am part of you and you are part of me. And that this whole idea that people posit is that we somehow belong to each other becomes concrete. And feeling that is humbling. The gift of these years is one of gratitude. You know, there are always people who are seemingly in your arena, your heroes, and have set your sights and your aspirations, like Pete Seeger is for me. And then there are also people who are striving and who are coming up, and your nurturing them becomes important. So your having said that is more than a compliment. It's a statement of my existence now, as distinct from the way I would have ever answered it before this period of time when I can say, "You're my son, you're my brother, you're my father, you're my husband, my wife, my godchild, my chazan, my papupnik." Oh, that's it. You're my papupnik.
No.
I like that one.
Oh my God,
I'm using that one. I'm your
that word.
Popupnik.
What I would like to interject here is this thought. I think all of us in life need that affirmation. And we assume that when people get older, when people are accomplished, they hear those compliments and affirmations all the time. And it doesn't necessarily happen. We all stand on generational shoulders, and we need to nurture those shoulders. And I miss that in our society at times. I miss the adoration of almost exclusively younger generations. I mean, Dave, I used to color my hair and you used to color your hair. You used to say, "Come on, Craig, why aren't you coloring your hair anymore?" And I said, "Because Disney's not making my color. Why are you?" And youth is great, but wisdom is far greater. Respect, integrity. Yeah. Piper, what's it like to write with your dad? What do you learn from your dad? What's it like to work with your dad? Is he an inspiration for you? How do you collaborate? What's that like?
Yeah, he's definitely an inspiration. He writes so many songs and does such cool music on TV shows, and it's a lot to live up to. But when we wrote Ahavat Olam and Achat Sha'alti, we really just sat at the piano and just sort of started playing and just came up with the melody on the spot. Yeah, that's pretty much how
Do you play any instruments?
Yes, I play piano.
Can you say the lyric of that bridge for Ahavat Olam?
Yeah, it's when we lie down, when we rise up, this joy will last forever. That's it. So
Ta-da!
yeah, the original words were really weird.
Okay.
But they were similar. It was a similar idea. We were just sort of the way that a songwriter takes a lyric and just sort of conforms it to the music that they're trying to set it to, and also that's something that I've tried to do in other pieces of Jewish music that I've been involved in, and Craig, including the one that we just did together, where we basically, there's a given text that's in whatever source material you're looking at, and then you set that to music, and the music and the words have to go together.
So Peter, you wrote "Day Is Done." Did you have a melodic thing going on in your head? Were you basing it off of something? You wrote the lyrics, I believe, to "Day Is Done" too, correct?
Yeah.
Did one come before the other? And maybe before you do that, can you just sing so everybody knows what we're talking about here?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Put them on the big screen, please, Karen. This is your big chance, Peter.
Tell me why you're crying, my son. I know you're frightened like everyone. Is it the thunder in the distance you fear? Will it help if I stay very near, my son? I am here. And if you take my hand, my son, all will be well when the day is done. And if you take my hand, my son, all will be well when the day is done. Day is done.
And the day is done.
Day is done.
And the day is done.
The day is done.
Day is done.
When the day is done. See, and if you do it slowly enough, you can actually sing together, because yes, you're a little bit late, but if it's slow enough, who cares? Who's if you're doing it fast, it's really out of sync. But uh, what and I write when I feel something inside that needs to be expressed. When it's there, I I know it, and I don't need the confirmation from anybody. It's just that's all I need. It's there for me. If you like it, fine. If you don't like it, whatever. And there are songs I've written that have not been understandable or transmittable to others. But the the idea is that I sometimes write my best songs when I'm assigned the task. I was assigned the task when Peter, Paul, and Mary got together in Washington, D.C. for the express purpose of getting arrested together. And it was the time at which people were getting arrested in front of the South African embassy in an act of civil disobedience. They say you can't be there, and you walk into the space and they say you have to leave, and you put your arms together, and you're with Rabbi David Saperstein, by the way, and when you're all getting arrested, and they say you have to go, and you say we're not going, and you keep singing we shall overcome, and they come and they put the handcuffs on you. That's not the way generally people get arrested, but this was in this case, this is what happened, because over 3,000 people demonstrated in that way, and that was part of keeping the United States on track to maintain its boycott of its embargo with South Africa to stop apartheid. But this is the song that I wrote on assignment. But I knew what I wanted to say and how it had to be, in the same sense that Light One Candle was on assignment. That was when Paul and Mary said, look, our Christmas concert at Carnegie Hall in the tradition of the Weavers is falling on the third night of Hanukkah. You are a Jew. You write the song, which indeed is what happened. But
it actually came out as Puff the Magic Dragon. They said, no, that's not going to work.
I have to talk about that song right now, Light One Candle, because I've been singing that song since the 80s when I was a child in the youth choir. I would get a verse, and we also sang your Shir Hamalot, Craig, so I just got to shout you out to that as well. Those are my early influences. And it's just such an amazing dynamic that I see here, actually, in this room. So, you wrote these songs, Peter. You wrote this song, and you wrote the first two verses. I'm looking at it right now, even though I haven't memorized, but I brought it up. The first two verses are specifically Jewish. It says, "Light one candle for the Maccabee children." It's about the story, their right to, and then the pain they endured. They endured when their right to exist was denied. By the third line, you've already made it universal. The terrible sacrifice, justice, and freedom demand. This is something that's universal. And, in 2016, I sang this, after the election. It had such a different meaning. I mean, you really were prescient in writing this. But what you did is you took something that was a Jewish experience and you made it universal so that the whole world can understand through this Jewish concept. And then, Gabriel, you did something different. You took something that was within our Jewish wisdom and you made it available to the Jews by making it sound modern, because the Jews don't have access to our own wisdom as well, because it's not in, like your daughter was saying, it's not really in the language that makes sense to us as Americans. And so we have to have it translated. So like right here, you're taking our wisdom and translating it both directions. It's a really cool thing.
Chava, stunning, beautiful. Peter, I'm going to come back to you, but I just want to make sure that Dave Koz is still with us. I mean, oh my God.
I've been enjoying this. I've been enjoying this so much. This is amazing. And by the way,
David,
Chava,
do you have your axe with you?
Me?
I can go get it.
Dave. Oh, okay.
Dave,
I
if
can
you
go get
have
it.
your ads, I want to do something, together, and I'll show you how I mean that.
I got
Okay.
concerned that you said you have your ass with us, and I just didn't feel.
I have that too.
I've got
that too.
Okay.
But can I just say, Ava,
Yeah.
for one moment too,
Please,
that your
please.
piece was absolutely breathtaking. Your voice, and I beg my ignorance. Until Craig brought you to me, I didn't know you, and so I did a little bit of a deep dive on you yesterday, and wow. I think I might be your #1 fan now, but just absolutely gorgeous. Your voice and your music, absolutely beautiful. So
Yay.
anyway,
We're
thank
gonna
you.
See, what- I
collab.
was,
I-
I was noting the textures in your voice are um, so varied, unlike my voice, where that's the Peter's voice. But you have so many. One of the singers that always had that capacity was Barbara Streisand. That there's so many different textures in her voice that would emotionally give you a certain kind of flexibility in terms of the tools to express what you had to express. So that was really special.
Wow, Peter Yarrow just said a sentence of me and Barbara Streisand, so I could die now.
But you put in the same sentence Peter Yarrow and Craig Taubman. So
Well, everyone stay tuned for our collab album right here. It's coming out.
It's coming up. So I want to share this, Dave. Hava did something really, really special. She took it from this very, very technical place and made it very, very personal. You are an extraordinary artist with extraordinary accomplishments. I don't know how many Grammys you've been nominated for, how many awards you've done tremendous stuff. But I would have to say the thing that resonates with me the most, and when people talk about Dave Koz, he's just so kind. He's just so sensitive. He's just so sweet. Think about Peter, who said, wait a minute, put Piper back on. I see the painting behind Piper. It wasn't, he sees behind Piper. He sees through and inside Piper. Your mom, when you were on Arsenio Hall, I believe it was Arsenio Hall. I mean, you would always be in the band, right? Didn't she bring cookies and then you guys came up with a cookie? Your mom brought cookies.
Yeah.
What's the role of that humanity, that goodness, that chen in your career, do you feel?
Well, my mom, she's
not just your mom, not just your mom. But
my mom and dad. Yeah, well, I'll start by saying that my mom used to take credit for my whole career because in those early days she would make these chocolate chip cookies that were very beloved, and they actually Capitol Records, who I was signed to for 20 years, used to take her out on not me, but her on promo trips to radio stations and record stores and stuff, and she would get my record played on the radio because of her chocolate chip cookies. It was like, you've heard of payola. This was like cookieola. But I want to say one thing too. You bring up an interesting thing, Craig, to me. I think that musicians, because of, I'm not sure why, but we have a certain ESP that I love musicians. I love hanging out with musicians. I have so much respect for them because there's like a different sensitivity. Like you can walk into a room if you're a musician and you can kind of see I don't know what it is, but it's like this sensitivity to other people and reading the room and being able to, just getting on stage and playing a concert or in Gabriel's case, being able to come up with the right piece of music that captures the attention, doesn't overtake the action on the television screen, but compliment, like that sensitivity of knowing what to say, what to play, how to be. I think as musicians, there's something in our ears or in our spirits or our souls that allow us to be extra sensitive. I'm grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that in my life. And if that causes us to be a little bit more sensitive and get our feelings hurt once in a while, I mean, it's the price to pay to be able to have that gift. I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody else on the call, but
Most definitely. So
Absolutely.
we're going to have to wrap this up because I know that Gabriel has to go. So what
We're
I'd like
going to
to
warp it up.
happen,
We're
Yeah.
warping it up.
we're-
We're going to warp
Yes.
it up after all
no,
this
but
goodness.
Dave, if you could go get your axe.
Look at that.
I'm ready.
Yeah. You got a
That's
plan, Peter?
exciting.
Yes, I do. Now, is Gabriel there? Okay. Now,
I'm here.
what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a line, and then just like an improvisation, you'll do something in answer to it. It's like dueling banjos. I go, "Ba-dee-ba-da," you go, "Ba-da-dee-ba-doo," or whatever.
Okay.
Well, now you know that Puff the Magic Dragon lived by the sea. And he frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu, Gabriel. And have a little Jackie, little Jackie, little Jackie, little Jackie, little Jackie Paper. He loved that rascal Puff. Oh my God, yes. And David, and he brought him strings. And he brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy, fancy stuff, but nothing intoxicating. Gabriel, together they would travel on a boat with billowed sail. And Jackie Chava kept a lookout. He looked out for his brother Puff on Puff's gigantic tail. Craig Puff the magic, Puff the magic, Puff the magic, Puff the magic, magic dragon.
It's a puffin and a puffin and a puffin and a puffin and a puffin in the puffin in the puffin. And this I think that we've had enough of the puffin.
And you put the puffin in the muffin and the puffin, put toffee in the puffy and the coffee and the
All right, so Peter, Dave, Gabe, Piper's still here. I wish you the blessings that you've bestowed on so many people for so many generations, the blessing of peace, the blessing of continued light. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May you be blessed and guarded on your continued journeys with health. Peter, with health. May God shine, the Creator shine light upon you on your journey, and may you go in peace, and may you constantly come back to us in peace. Thank you for enriching our lives. Thank you for taking risks. Thank you for collaborating. Thank you. You have made my life much more full.
Craig, I have to interrupt you because before we go, I want to say a couple of words to Piper.
Yeah. We got to bring her on then. Maybe you have the closing words then. Okay.
All right. Is Piper there for me to speak to? Piper.
Yeah, just the two of you, though. Just the two of you.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
just make
Just the
this.
two of us. Okay.
just-
Piper, I'm going to sing you something. Okay. Just a little bit. I want to see just the two of us. I don't want to see these other faces. There we go. Okay. All right, Piper. Here we go. Now, the world, Piper, is a very scary place. And for those of us who've lived long within it, we look for an embrace or something to show us a hope and a path. And Piper, it's in your hands. We will not give it to you, but beside you we will stand. It didn't work out so well for our generation, Piper. We messed it up. But you're gonna do some wonderful things if you have the courage to keep it up. I have a lot of faith in you. You're gonna make it, friend. I see it's true. And now goodbye. Go back to school, but forget any of the rules that we made. They're made to be broken and improved. Love you, dear one. Go well.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Wow. What blew me away? We're not. We're going to be past this, but what blew me away? The song was good. Piper, you are so posed. I just to be able to focus on that green old shirt was. I mean, seriously, you are just so poised. It's remarkable. God bless all of you. I'm going to call all of you.
You are, Piper, and your contemporaries are too.
Yeah. I'm going to call all of you later. I'll exchange phone numbers for anybody interested. Thank you. Shana Tova.
Thank you so much,
Tova.
Greg. Shana Tova.